Park Tae-min walked down the long, white hallway of the human warship Retribution. His black uniform was clean and pressed. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. He had walked this same path many times before. Today would be the last time. The hallway led to the execution chamber. Tae-min had been the fleet executioner for 15 years. He had done his job without question. He had killed 847 people in the name of justice. War criminals, traitors, murderers. All of them deserved to die, or so he had been told. But something had changed inside him. Each death had taken a small piece of his soul. Now there was nothing left. He felt empty, cold, like a machine that only knew how to kill. Last week he had asked Captain Kim So-ra for a transfer. He wanted to leave the military. He wanted to go home to Earth and try to become human again. She had agreed, but only after this final execution. Tae-min stopped at the heavy metal door. A sign read, "Authorized personnel only." He placed his hand on the scanner. The door opened with a soft hiss. The execution chamber was a small white room. In the center was a chair surrounded by an energy field. The condemned would sit there. Then Tae-min would press a button. The energy field would stop their heart in seconds. It was clean. It was quick. It was supposed to be merciful. Today's prisoner was different from the others. It was not human. The alien sat very still in the chair. Its body looked like it was made of clear crystal. Light moved through it in slow waves. It had no face that Tae-min could recognize, no eyes or mouth. Just smooth crystal that somehow seemed alive. The alien was humming. The sound was strange and beautiful. It reminded Tae-min of wind through trees, or water flowing over rocks. The melody was sad but peaceful. It made something inside his chest feel tight. "Commander Park," a voice said behind him. Tae-min turned. Captain Kim So-ra had entered the chamber. She was a small woman with short black hair and tired eyes. She had been his friend once, before the war made friends a luxury no one could afford. "Captain?" Tae-min said. He stood straight and tried to look professional. "Are you ready?" she asked. Tae-min looked at the alien again. It was still humming that strange song. What did it do? Captain Kim pulled out a data pad. Its name is Veltar. It was a commander in the ethereal collective fleet. It ordered the orbital bombing of New Sol colony. Tae-min felt his jaw tighten. New Sol had been home to 200,000 people. Men, women, children. All dead in a single day. The news reports had shown nothing but ash and broken buildings. "All those people," Tae-min said. "All those people," Captain Kim agreed. "The War Crimes Tribunal found it guilty. The sentence is death." The alien stopped humming. It turned toward them, though Tae-min could not see how it knew they were there. When it spoke, its voice was clear and soft. It spoke perfect Korean. "You are the one who will kill me," it said to Tae-min. Tae-min was surprised. Most aliens spoke through translators. "You know our language." "I know many things about humans," Veltar said. "I have studied your people for many years." "Then you know why you must die," Captain Kim said. Her voice was hard. "Yes," Veltar said. "I know what you believe I have done." Something in the way it said, "believe," made Tae-min pause. But Captain Kim was already moving toward the door. 5 minutes, Commander," she said, "then proceed with the execution." The door closed. Tae-min was alone with the alien. He walked to the control panel. Red light showed that the energy field was active. One button would end it all. He had pressed that button so many times before. His finger knew exactly how much pressure to apply. "You carry great sadness," Veltar said suddenly. Tae-min looked up. "What?" "Your sadness fills this room like smoke. It is heavy and dark. Why do you carry such pain?" The question caught Tae-min off guard. No prisoner had ever asked him anything personal. Before, they usually begged for mercy or screamed threats. They did not ask about his feelings. "I do my duty," Tae-min said. "Duty," Veltar repeated. Yes, I understand duty. But duty should not break a person's spirit. What has broken yours? Taemin stared at the alien. How could it know he was broken? He tried to keep his face blank. He had learned to hide his emotions years ago. You killed 200,000 innocent people, Taemin said. That is why you are here. And you have killed how many? Veltar asked gently. That is different. I execute criminals. People who deserve to die. Do you believe that? The simple question hit Taemin like a physical blow. Did he believe it? He had told himself that story for 15 years. Every time he pressed the button, he told himself the person deserved it. They were guilty. They were dangerous. The galaxy was safer without them. But late at night, alone in his cabin, he remembered their faces. Some had been afraid. Some had been angry. A few had seemed almost relieved, but they had all been people. Living beings with thoughts and feelings and memories. I follow orders, Taemin said. That is not what I asked. Taemin looked at his hands. They were steady. They had always been steady. Even when his heart was breaking, his hands never shook. Why? Are you asking me this? He said. Because you are about to kill me, Veltar said. And I sense that you do not want to kill anymore. So I wonder why you continue. The alien began to hum again. The same sad, beautiful melody as before. The sound seemed to wrap around Taemin like a warm blanket. For a moment he felt something he had not felt in years. Peace. What is that song? He asked. It is a death song. Veltar said. My people sing it to honor those who are about to leave this world. I sing it for both of us. Both of us. Yes. You will kill my body today, but I think part of you has already died. The part that could feel joy, the part that could hope, that part of you has been dying slowly, one execution at a time. Taemin wanted to argue. He wanted to say the alien was wrong, but the words would not come. Because it was true. He was already dead inside, had been for years. His finger moved toward the button. This would be the last time. After today, he could leave this ship. He could go home. Maybe he could find a way to feel alive again. But as he looked at Veltar, something stopped him. The alien was not afraid. It was not angry. It just sat there, humming its death song, waiting for the end. Are you not afraid to die? Taemin asked. I am afraid of many things, Veltar said, but death is not one of them. I am afraid that you will never forgive yourself for what you are about to do. I am afraid that my people and your people will destroy each other because they do not understand. I am afraid that the real enemy will come while we fight each other. The real enemy. But before Veltar could answer, the door opened. Captain Kim stepped inside. Time is up, Commander, she said. Taemin looked at the button, then at Veltar, then at Captain Kim. His finger hovered over the red button that would end another life. Taemin pulled his finger back from the button. The equipment needs checking, he said to Captain Kim. I detected a power fluctuation. Captain Kim frowned. The technicians inspected everything this morning. I need to run diagnostics, Taemin said. Safety protocol. It was a lie. The equipment worked perfectly. But Taemin needed time to think. Veltar had mentioned a real enemy. What did that mean? Captain Kim looked at her watch. You have 30 minutes. Then we proceed regardless. She left the chamber. The door sealed behind her. Taemin turned back to Veltar. The alien had stopped humming. It sat perfectly still like a statue made of living crystal. You mentioned a real enemy, Taemin said. What did you mean? You truly do not know, Veltar said. It sounded surprised. Your leaders have told you nothing. Told me what? Veltar was quiet for a long moment. Light pulsed slowly through its crystal body. My people are not your enemy, Commander Park. We never were. You destroyed New Seoul, Taemin said. 200,000 people died. Yes, and that choice will haunt me, forever. But you do not understand why it was necessary. Taemin felt anger rising in his chest. There is no reason that makes mass murder necessary. What if those people were already dying? Veltar asked. What if leaving them alive would have caused them greater suffering? That makes no sense. Sit down, Commander. Please, let me tell you about my people. Taemin did not want to sit. He wanted to finish this execution and leave. But something in Veltar's voice made him pause. He pulled up a chair and sat across from the alien. My people see emotions the way you see colors, Veltar began. We feel what others feel. When you entered this room, I felt your sadness immediately. It was like walking into a dark cloud. That is impossible, is it? Your own scientists have discovered that emotions create measurable energy patterns. My people evolved to sense those patterns. It helped us survive on our home world. Taemin thought about this. Human scientists had found that brain activity created electrical fields. Maybe some aliens could detect those fields. What does this have to do with New Soul? He asked. When I feel your sadness, I also understand why you are sad, Veltar said. You have killed 847 people. Each death added to your pain. You tell yourself they deserve to die, but part of you knows that some of them might have been innocent. Taemin stood up quickly. They were all guilty, the courts decided. Were they? All of them? Every single one? Images flashed through Taemin's mind. A young soldier executed for desertion, but maybe he had just been scared. A woman killed for treason, but maybe she had been trying to protect her family. A man who claimed he was innocent until the very end. I follow orders, Taemin said, but his voice was weaker now. So did I, Veltar said. The day I bombed New Soul, I was following orders too. But those orders came from desperation, not cruelty. Explain. Veltar's crystal body brightened. 3 months before the attack on New Soul, our deep space sensors detected something terrible. Ships unlike anything we had ever seen. They moved between stars like ghosts. They consumed everything in their path. What kind of ships? We call them the Void Devourers. They are ancient machines, older than both our civilizations. They sleep for thousands of years, then wake to harvest entire star systems. They take everything, planets, stars, life itself. Taemin felt a chill run down his spine. You are making this up, and I wish I were. The Void Devourers destroyed 17 of our colony worlds before we understood what they were. Billions of my people died. We tried to fight them, but our weapons were useless. So we ran. You ran to human space. Yes. We hoped to find refuge. We hoped to warn you, but your people attacked us immediately. You thought we were invading. Taemin remembered the first battles of the war. Human ships had detected alien vessels entering their territory. The aliens had refused to stop when ordered. Fighting had started almost immediately. Why did you not explain? Taemin asked. We tried. But fear makes communication difficult. Your people were afraid of us. We were afraid of the Void Devourers following us. In that fear, mistakes were made. Mistakes like bombing New Soul? Veltar's light dimmed. New Soul was our greatest mistake and our greatest mercy. I do not understand. The Void Devourers do not simply destroy worlds. They plant seeds first. Tiny machines that begin breaking down all life at the molecular level. The process takes days. It is incredibly painful. Taemin felt sick. You are saying New Soul was infected? Our sensors detected the nanomachines 3 hours before the bombing. The people on New Soul were already doomed. They would have died slowly in agony as their bodies dissolved from the inside out. So you killed them quickly instead. Yes, it was the only mercy we could give them. But we knew your people would never understand. We knew you would call us murderers. Taemin stared at the alien. If this was true, then everything about the war was wrong. The ethereal collective had not been invaders. They had been refugees, and the bombing of New Soul had not been an attack, but a desperate attempt to prevent greater suffering. Why should I believe you? Taemin asked. Because I am about to die, Veltar said. What reason would I have to lie? To save your life. If I wanted to save my life, I would tell you what you wanted to hear. I would confess to being a monster. I would beg for forgiveness. Instead, I tell you a truth that makes me sound even more guilty. Taemin walked to the control panel. The red button waited for him. In 15 minutes, Captain Kim would return. If he had not completed the execution by then, he would be court-martialed. But if Veltar was telling the truth, then this alien was not a war criminal. It was a victim of circumstances beyond its control. A soldier who had made an impossible choice to save people from a fate worse than death. The Void Devourers, Taemin said. Are they still coming? Yes. They follow the path of destruction. They will arrive in this system within days. Why have our sensors not detected them? Because they travel in dimensions your science does not yet understand. But when they arrive, you will see them clearly enough. Taemin thought about Admiral Lee Dongwu, the fleet commander. The admiral was a good man, but not one who changed his mind easily. If Taemin told him about the Void Devourers, would he listen? Or would he assume it was enemy propaganda? My people and your people could work together, Veltar said. We know how to detect the Void Devourers. You have weapons we never imagined. Together we might have a chance. Or you might be lying to save your life. Yes, that is possible. But if I am telling the truth and you kill me, then both our peoples will die when the real enemy arrives. The door chimed. Captain Kim would return soon. Taemin looked at Veltar one more time. The alien sat peacefully, waiting for death or reprieve. It had told him an incredible story. A story that made the war meaningless and the execution a terrible mistake. But it was still just a story. And Taemin had heard many stories from condemned prisoners. They all claimed to be innocent. They all had reasons why they should live. His finger moved toward the button again. Commander Park, Veltar said softly. If you must kill me, I understand, but please remember what I have told you. When the Void Devourers come, remember that my people tried to warn you. The door opened. Captain Kim stepped inside. Time is up, she said. Taemin's finger touched the button. One push would end it all. He would never have to see another prisoner die. He could go home and try to forget. But he would also never know if Veltar had been telling the truth. Taemin's finger stopped just above the button. Captain, I need more time. Captain Kim stepped closer. Commander, you have your orders. The prisoner has information about enemy movements, intelligence that could save lives. What kind of information? Taemin looked at Veltar. The alien had not moved. There may be other enemy forces approaching our position. This prisoner claims to have knowledge of their capabilities. Captain Kim frowned. Why did it not share this information during interrogation? Ask it yourself. Captain Kim walked to the energy field. Prisoner, do you have intelligence about ethereal fleet movements? Not ethereal movements, Veltar said. Something else. Something your people need to know before it is too late. Speak. I will share what I know, but not in words. My people communicate important truths in a different way. We use harmonic resonance to transfer memories and emotions directly from mind to mind. Captain Kim stepped back. Telepathy? Not exactly. We cannot read thoughts. But we can share experiences through sound frequencies. The humming you heard earlier was a simple version of this process. Alien mind tricks, Captain Kim said. I will not authorize any such procedure. Captain, Taemin said, if there is even a small chance this intelligence could help us, should we not consider it? The prisoner is scheduled for execution. That will proceed as planned. Captain Kim turned toward the door. But before she could leave, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Red warning lights flashed in the execution chamber. Captain Kim touched her communication device. Bridge, report. Captain, we are detecting massive energy signatures at the edge of the system. Unknown ships are approaching at impossible speeds. Captain Kim and Taemin looked at each other, then at Veltar. How many ships? Captain Kim asked. Sensors show at least 50 vessels, Captain. But their technology is unlike anything in our databases. They appear to be traveling through folded space. The Void Devourers, Veltar said quietly. Captain Kim spun around. What did you say? The ships your sensors have detected. They are the Void Devourers, the real enemy I tried to warn you about. This is impossible. You could not have known they were coming. I told Commander Park they follow paths of destruction. My people have been tracking their movements for months. They always come to finish what they started. The communication device crackled again. Captain, the unknown ships are not responding to any communication attempts. They are continuing to approach at high speed. Captain Kim looked at the execution controls, then at Veltar. If you know something about these ships, you will tell me now. I will share what I know, but only through the harmonic process. Words cannot carry the full truth of what the Void Devourers are. I cannot authorize alien mental procedures. Then your people will die, Veltar said simply. The Void Devourers cannot be fought with conventional weapons. Your fleet will be destroyed in minutes unless you understand what you are facing. Another alarm joined the first. The ship's engines were powering up. The fleet was preparing for battle. Captain Kim spoke into her device. Bridge, this is the captain. Delay any engagement with the unknown vessels. I am coming up immediately. She looked at Taemin. Stay with the prisoner. Do not proceed with the execution until I return. Captain Kim left the chamber. Taemin was alone with Veltar again. She will not authorize the harmonic sharing, Veltar said. Your people do not trust what they do not understand. Can you show me? Taemin asked. These memories you mentioned? Yes. But you must lower the energy field. I cannot create the proper resonance patterns while contained. Taemin hesitated. Releasing a condemned prisoner was against all regulations. If Captain Kim returned and found Veltar free, Taemin would face court-martial. But if the alien was telling the truth about the approaching ships, the entire fleet might be in danger. If I release you, will you try to escape? Where would I go? This is your ship surrounded by your fleet, and my own people believe I am dead. I have nowhere to run. Taemin made his decision. He pressed the controls that lowered the energy. Field Veltar stood up slowly. Its crystal body was taller than Taemin had expected, nearly 7 feet high. Light moved through it like living water. Thank you for trusting me, Veltar said. I have not decided to trust you yet. Show me these memories. Veltar moved to the center of the chamber. This process may be overwhelming for a human mind. My people experience it from birth, but for you it will be completely new. I understand. Place your hands on my surface. Try to keep your mind open and calm. Taemin stepped forward and pressed his palms against Veltar's crystal skin. It was warm and smooth like polished stone. Veltar began to hum. But this was different from the death song Taemin had heard earlier. This melody was complex with multiple harmonies weaving together. The sound seemed to come from inside Veltar's entire body. At first, Taemin felt nothing except the vibrations through his hands. Then the world around him began to change. He was no longer in the execution chamber. He was standing on the bridge of an alien ship, looking through Veltar's eyes. The memory was so vivid that Taemin could smell the strange air and hear the sounds of alien technology. Fleet Commander, an alien voice said. We are receiving distress signals from New Sol Colony. Taemin watched through Veltar's eyes as the alien commander studied sensor readings. The data showed something terrible. The entire colony was infected with microscopic machines that were breaking down all organic matter. How long do they have? Veltar asked. 6 hours until total conversion. The nanomachines are spreading quickly. Taemin felt Veltar's emotions, as if they were his own. Horror, desperation, anguish at having to make an impossible choice. Can we save them? No, the infection is too advanced, but we can end their suffering quickly. The memory shifted. Taemin saw the orbital bombardment from Veltar's perspective. He felt the alien commander's pain as the weapons fired. Each explosion that killed humans also killed part of Veltar's soul. I am sorry. Veltar whispered to the dying colony. I am so sorry. The memory changed again. Now Taemin saw the Void Devourers for the first time. Massive black ships that seemed to absorb light itself. They moved through space like predators, consuming everything in their path. He watched entire star systems die, planets stripped of all life, stars drained of their energy until they went dark. Billions of beings dying as their worlds were harvested. The ethereal collective had tried to fight. Their weapons had done nothing. The Void Devourers were too advanced, too powerful. So the survivors had run, hoping to find allies among the younger races. But the humans had seen them as invaders. War had begun immediately. The harmonic song ended. Taemin found himself back in the execution chamber, his hand still pressed against Veltar's crystal surface. He was shaking. Now you understand, Veltar said gently. Taemin stepped back. The memories felt completely real. He had experienced Veltar's pain, shared the aliens' desperate choices. If what he had seen was true, then the ethereal collective were not monsters. They were refugees trying to warn humanity about a greater threat. Those memories, Taemin said, could they be false? Created to deceive me? Yes, that is possible. But why would I show you memories that make me look guilty of genocide? If I wanted to deceive you, I would show myself as innocent. Taemin thought about this. The memories had shown Veltar making terrible choices, but for understandable reasons. It would be easier to create false memories that showed complete innocence. The chamber door opened. Captain Kim returned, her face grim. The unknown ships have stopped at the system's edge, she said. They are not attacking, but they are not leaving either. It is like they are waiting for something. She noticed that the energy field was down and Veltar was standing free. Commander, explain yourself immediately. Captain, I think we need to listen to what this prisoner has to say. You released a condemned war criminal without authorization. I think we may have made a mistake. About the war, about everything. Captain Kim drew her sidearm. Step away from the prisoner, Commander. Taemin did not move. Captain, those ships out there, they are not ethereal vessels. They are something else, something worse than we can imagine. That is enough. You are relieved of duty. The ship shuddered. Suddenly, emergency lights began flashing. What was that? Captain Kim asked. Veltar answered. The Void Devourers are beginning their harvest. They have found what they came for. The ship shuddered again, harder this time. Captain Kim spoke into her communication device. Bridge, report immediately. Captain, the unknown vessels are firing some kind of energy beam at the outer planets. The planets are changing color. Their surfaces appear to be dissolving. Captain Kim looked at Veltar with new understanding. The nanomachines you mentioned. Yes. The Void Devourers seed entire star systems before harvesting them. They started this process months ago. Now they have returned to collect what they planted. How long do we have? The harvesting will begin with the outer planets and work inward. Perhaps 2 days before they reach the inhabited worlds. Captain Kim holstered her weapon. What do you know about fighting these ships? My people tried for many years. Conventional weapons are useless. Their ships are protected by technology we do not understand. But there may be another way. Explain. The Void Devourers are machines, but they are guided by a central intelligence. If that intelligence could be disrupted, the entire fleet might be vulnerable. How do we disrupt it? Harmonic resonance. The same process I used to share memories with Commander Park. If we could amplify the signal and target their command frequency, we might be able to confuse their systems. Captain Kim considered this. You are asking me to trust alien technology in a battle for human survival. I am asking you to let my people help save both our species. The communication device crackled. Captain, Admiral Lee is ordering all ships to battle positions. We are to attack the unknown vessels immediately. Captain Kim and Taemin exchanged looks. Admiral Lee Dongwu was a brave commander, but he believed in solving problems with firepower. If he attacked the Void Devourers with conventional weapons, the human fleet would be destroyed. "I need to speak with the Admiral," Captain Kim said. "He will not listen," Veltar said. "Your Admiral believes strength comes from superior weapons. He does not understand that sometimes wisdom is more powerful than force." "Then I will make him understand." Captain Kim activated her device. "Admiral Lee, this is Captain Kim So-Ra. I request permission to speak with you immediately about the tactical situation." "Captain Kim, all ships are to maintain battle formation. We attack in 15 minutes. Sir, I have intelligence about the enemy vessels. Information that could change our strategy." There was silence for several seconds. Then Admiral Lee's voice returned, harder than before. "Captain, your ship was assigned to conduct an execution, not gather intelligence. Has that task been completed?" Captain Kim looked at Veltar, then at Tae-min. "No, sir. The execution has been delayed." "Delayed? For what reason?" "The prisoner has information about the attacking vessels. Sir, I believe these ships may not be part of the Ethereal Collective." "Captain Kim, you will complete the execution immediately and report to battle stations. That is a direct order." Valet. Communication ended. Captain Kim stared at her device. "He will not listen," she said. "What do we do now?" Tae-min asked. Before Captain Kim could answer, Lieutenant Choi Min-ho entered the chamber. He was a young officer with an honest face and steady hands. Tae-min had trained him in weapons procedures when he first joined the ship. "Captain, I have orders to relieve Commander Park and complete the execution," Choi said. "On whose authority?" "Admiral Lee, ma'am. Commander Park is to be placed under arrest for failure to follow orders." Tae-min felt his heart sink. This was exactly what he had feared. By trying to save Veltar, he had only delayed the inevitable. "Lieutenant," Captain Kim said, "before you proceed, I want you to hear what this prisoner has told us." "Ma'am, I have my orders. Your orders are to execute a war criminal. But what if this being is not a criminal? What if we have been wrong about everything?" Choi looked confused. "I do not understand. The ships attacking our system are not ethereal vessels. They belong to a different enemy entirely, an enemy that both humans and ethereals should be fighting together." "That is impossible." Veltar stepped forward. "Lieutenant Choi, is it not true that you lost family on New Sol Colony?" Choi's face went pale. "My sister lived there. She died in the bombing. I am the one who ordered that bombing. I am responsible for your sister's death. Do you want to kill me?" "Yes," Choi said, his voice shaking with emotion. "Then you should know why she really died." Veltar began to hum again. The same complex harmonies that had shared memories with Tae-min, but this time the song was different, sadder, more personal. The melody filled the chamber. Choi stood frozen, listening to the alien song. "What I am about to show you will be painful," Veltar said. "But you deserve to know the truth about your sister's final hours. I do not want alien memories in my head. Then I will simply tell you. Your sister did not die from the bombing. She was already dying when the weapons fired. The nanomachines had been eating her alive for 3 hours. The bombing was mercy, not murder." Choi raised his weapon toward Veltar. "You are lying." "I wish I were, but I can prove what I say is true." The ship shook violently. Emergency alarms began blaring throughout the vessel. "The Admiral has begun his attack," Captain Kim said, checking her instruments. "The fleet is engaging the unknown vessels." "They will all die," Veltar said. "Just as my people died when we tried to fight the Void Devourers with weapons alone." Through the chamber's small viewport, they could see flashes of light as the human fleet fired on the dark ships. For a moment it looked like the attack might succeed. Several Void Devourer vessels seemed to be taking damage. Then the enemy returned fire. The energy beams that struck the human ships were unlike anything Tae-min had ever seen. They did not explode or burn. Instead, they seemed to unravel the ships at a molecular level. Metal turned to dust. Energy fields collapsed. Entire vessels simply dissolved into space. "My God," Captain Kim whispered. 3 human ships were gone in as many seconds. The remaining vessels continued their attack, but their weapons seemed to have no effect on the Void Devourers. We have to help them, Taemin said. How? Captain Kim asked. Even if we could convince the Admiral to try this harmonic disruption, we have no way to amplify the signal powerful enough to affect those ships. Yes, we do, Veltar said. Your communication array. If modified correctly, it could broadcast harmonic frequencies across the entire system. That would require reprogramming the ship's entire communication system. I can do it, but I need access to your computer core. Impossible. No alien will be given access to our ship's systems. Another human ship dissolved under enemy fire, then another. Lieutenant Choi lowered his weapon. How many ships will we lose if we do nothing? All of them, Veltar said. The Void Devourers. Do not take prisoners, they consume everything. And if we trust you, you might save us. Or you might sabotage our systems and make things worse. Yes, that is the choice you must make. Captain Kim watched as 2 more human vessels were destroyed. Half the fleet was gone already. Commander Park, she said, you have spent more time with this prisoner than anyone. Do you believe it is telling the truth? Taemin thought about the memories he had shared with Veltar, the pain he had felt through the aliens' experiences, the genuine anguish over the bombing of New Seoul. I believe it wants to save both our peoples, he said. Whether that makes it trustworthy or not, I do not know. Lieutenant Choi? Choi stared at Veltar. You really ordered the bombing to save my sister from a worse death? Yes, and I will carry the guilt of that choice until the day I die. But given the same situation, I would make the same choice again. Choi holstered his weapon. Then I will help you try to save the rest of my people. Captain Kim made her decision. Computer core access is on Deck 7, but if you betray us, alien, I will kill you myself. Understood. As they prepared to leave the execution chamber, Taemin realized something had changed. For the first time in years, he was not thinking about death. He was thinking about saving lives. Maybe there was hope for his broken soul after all. The computer core was deep in the ship's belly. As they ran through the corridors, more human vessels died in the space battle above. Each flash of light through the viewports meant hundreds of lives lost. How much time do we need? Captain Kim asked as they descended to Deck 7. 10 minutes to modify your communication array, Veltar said. 2 minutes to calibrate the harmonic frequency. Then we must broadcast continuously for at least 5 minutes to disrupt their command network. 17 minutes total. Can the fleet survive that long? They reached the computer core just as another ship dissolved in enemy fire. Through the corridor speakers, they could hear Admiral Lee shouting orders to his remaining vessels. All ships concentrate fire on the lead enemy vessel. We can break through their defenses. But even as he spoke, his flagship took a direct hit. The massive ship began to come apart, its hull turning to metallic dust. Admiral. Captain Kim tried to contact the bridge, but got only static. The flagship is gone, Lieutenant Choi said, monitoring the tactical display. Admiral Lee is dead. Who is in command now? Taemin asked. Captain Park Bo-young on the cruiser Determination. But she has only 6 ships left. Veltar had already connected itself to the computer core. Streams of data flowed across the screens as the alien worked to modify the ship's systems. Your technology is different from ours, but the principles are similar, Veltar said. I can adapt the communication array to broadcast harmonic frequencies. Will it work? I do not know. My people never had the chance to test this theory. The Void Devourers destroyed our fleet before we could complete the modifications. Another human ship died. Then another. 4 ships remaining, Choi reported. They cannot last much longer. Captain Kim, a voice called over the ship's communication system. This is Captain Park Bo-young. I am assuming fleet command. All remaining vessels will retreat to defensive positions around the inhabited planets. Captain Kim activated her microphone. Captain Park, this is Captain Kim Sora on the Retribution. We may have a way to stop the enemy ships. What kind of way? Captain Kim looked at Veltar, still working frantically at the computer console. We have developed a method to disrupt their command systems using harmonic resonance. Harmonic what? Captain Kim, This is not the time for experimental weapons. It is our only chance. We need 17 minutes. We do not have 17 minutes. 3 more minutes and we will be forced to abandon the outer defense line. Then give us those 3 minutes to try. There was silence on the communication channel. Then Captain Park's voice returned. You have 3 minutes, Captain Kim. After that, we retreat whether your experiment works or not. Veltar's crystal body was pulsing with rapid light patterns. The modifications are complete. Beginning calibration now. How long for calibration? 2 minutes if everything works perfectly. Taemin watched the tactical display. The remaining human ships were taking heavy damage. One was already losing power. Another had lost its main weapons. Can we help them fight while you work? He asked. No. The retribution must remain stationary for the harmonic broadcast. Any movement will disrupt the frequency pattern. Captain Kim made the hardest decision of her career. All human vessels. This is Captain Kim, Sora. I am ordering you to use our ship as a shield. Protect the retribution at all costs. Captain Park replied, that will put your ship directly in the line of fire. I understand. Do it anyway. The 3 remaining human ships moved to positions around the retribution. They began taking concentrated fire from the Void Devourers, their shields flaring as enemy beams struck them. Calibration complete, Veltar announced. Beginning harmonic broadcast now. The alien's body began to resonate with a deep, complex song. But this was unlike any melody Taemin had heard before. It was mathematical, precise, like music made from pure mathematics. The ship's communication array amplified the signal and broadcast it across the entire star system. For a moment, nothing seemed to change. The Void Devourers continued firing. Human ships continued dying. Then something strange happened. The enemy beams began to flicker. Their perfect accuracy wavered. Several shots missed their targets entirely. It is working, Lieutenant Choi said. Their weapons are becoming less effective. But the harmonic broadcast was taking its toll on Veltar. The alien's crystal body was dimming. Cracks were beginning to appear in its surface. Are you all right? Taemin asked. The broadcast requires all my energy, Veltar said. I can maintain it for perhaps 3 more minutes. Will that be enough? We will see. The Void Devourer ships were clearly having problems now. Their perfect formations were breaking apart. Some ships seemed to be firing randomly. Others had stopped moving entirely, but they were still dangerous. One of the human escort ships took a direct hit and exploded. Another lost its shields and was beginning to take hull damage. 2 more minutes, Veltar said. Its voice was weaker now. I need 2 more minutes. You have them, Captain Kim said. But even as she spoke, the last escort ship was destroyed. The Retribution was alone, facing 50 enemy vessels with no protection. Incoming. Fire, Choi announced. Multiple enemy beams converging on our position. The Void Devourer weapon struck the Retribution's shields. But something was wrong with the enemy fire. Instead of the perfect molecular disruption beams they had used before, these were weaker, unfocused. Their weapons are losing power, Captain, Kim said. The harmonic disruption is working. Not fast enough, Taemin replied. The shields cannot take much more damage. Veltar's crystal body was now covered with cracks. Light was leaking from the fractures like liquid fire. But the alien continued its harmonic song, pouring its life force into the broadcast. 1 more minute, Veltar whispered. Just 1 more minute. The Retribution's shields failed. Enemy beams began striking the hull directly. But they were much weaker now, causing damage instead of complete destruction. Hull breach on Deck 4, Choi reported. Emergency force fields are holding. 30 seconds, Veltar said. More enemy fire hit the ship. Systems began failing throughout the vessel, but the Void Devourer ships were in worse condition. Several had stopped functioning entirely. Others were drifting aimlessly through space. 20 seconds. The ship shuddered as another beam struck the computer core section. Sparks flew from the damaged systems, but Veltar held on, maintaining the broadcast even as its body began to crumble. 10 seconds. 5. Broadcast complete. Veltar collapsed, Its crystal body shattered into thousands of glowing fragments, but the harmonic signal had done its work. Throughout the star system, Void Devourer ships were shutting down. Their central intelligence had been disrupted. Without coordination, the ancient machines were just empty vessels drifting in space. All enemy ships have stopped firing, Choi announced. They appear to be completely inactive. Captain Kim knelt beside the fragments of Veltar's body. The pieces still glowed with faint light. "Can you hear me?" she asked. A weak voice came from the scattered crystal. "Yes. Is it over?" "The Void Devourers are defeated. You saved us all." "Good. That is good." Taemin picked up one of the larger crystal fragments. It was warm in his hands. "Why did you do it? Why did you sacrifice yourself for us?" "Because hatred is a burden too heavy to carry," Veltar said. "My people and your people both lost so much in this war. But loss does not have to create more loss. Pain does not have to create more pain. But we imprisoned you. We were going to execute you, yes, and I destroyed your colony. We both made mistakes born from fear and misunderstanding. But mistakes can be forgiven if they lead to wisdom." Captain Kim activated her communication system. "All human vessels, this is Captain Kim Sora. The immediate threat has passed, but we have much work to do. Over the next several hours, the surviving human ships began rescue operations. They also made an incredible discovery. Several ethereal, collective ships had been hiding in the asteroid belt, waiting to see the outcome of the battle. When the ethereal ships learned that Veltar had sacrificed itself to save humanity, they emerged from hiding. The first meeting between human and ethereal leaders was awkward and tense, but gradually, understanding began to grow. Captain Kim told the ethereal commanders about Veltar's final sacrifice. She shared the harmonic recordings that the alien had created, showing the true events at New Sol Colony. The ethereal leaders wept when they learned their fallen commander had been vindicated. They had believed Veltar was dead, killed in a failed assault on a human outpost. To learn that their hero had died saving both species was overwhelming. In return, the ethereals shared their knowledge of the Void Devourers. They helped human scientists understand the ancient threat and develop better defenses against future attacks. Taemin kept one fragment of Veltar's crystal body. In quiet moments, he could hear faint echoes of the alien's harmonic songs. The melodies taught him something he had almost forgotten: that forgiveness was not weakness but the strongest force in the universe. 6 months later, Taemin stood in a very different chamber. This one was filled with light and music. Human and ethereal children played together while their parents worked on joint research projects. He was no longer an executioner. He had become something he never expected: a teacher. He helped young humans and ethereals learn to communicate through harmonic resonance. The techniques Veltar had died to preserve were now spreading throughout both civilizations. "Teacher Park," a small human girl named Lee Hana called to him. "Can you tell us the story about the alien who gave the executioner a song?" Taemin smiled. He had told this story many times, but it never got easier. "It is not a story about an alien," he said. "It is a story about forgiveness." "But the alien died," said a young ethereal whose harmonic name translated roughly as Bright Echo. "Yes," Taemin said, "but death is not the end of the story. Veltar's songs live on in all of us. Every time we choose understanding over hatred, every time we choose forgiveness over revenge, Veltar's sacrifice continues to save lives." He picked up the crystal fragment he always carried. It still glowed with faint light, still hummed with barely audible melodies. "The alien gave me a song," Taemin said. "But it was not just any song, it was a song of hope, a song that taught me the most important lesson of all." "What lesson?" the children asked. "That we are strongest when we protect each other. Human and ethereal, young and old, friend and former enemy. We are all part of the same cosmic song." As the children began their own harmonic exercises, mixing human voices with ethereal resonance, Taemin thought about forgiveness. Veltar had asked for it, and he had given a song instead. But perhaps that was what forgiveness really was. A song that transformed pain into wisdom, hatred into understanding, and enemies into family. In the distance, construction crews were building new ships. But these were not warships. They were exploration vessels designed by human and ethereal engineers working together. Soon the combined fleets would venture into unknown space, carrying Veltar's songs to other worlds and other species. The executioner had laid down his weapons forever. In their place, he carried music that could heal the universe, one song at a time. The last echo of Veltar's sacrifice would resonate across the stars for generations to come, a reminder that even in the darkest times, forgiveness could light the way home.